Hello, everyone. How are you all tonight? Hello, Jade, Meryl, Julian, Rod, Paula. Who else is there? Michelle, Jamie. Great. Yes, we did a sound check, so hopefully no more flamenco dancers. We did 2. One was okay, one was dodgy. So we swapped a few things around. So hopefully tonight we'll get through the show without interruptions. Wouldn't that be nice for a change? I was beginning to think someone was out to get me. Okay, so, oh, good. So, if you are watching now, it's Tuesday, the 8th of September, 2020, and it's around 7:30 p.m. in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table. If you're watching after this date, then you're on the replay, and that's fine. We're really happy that you're watching anyway. However you watch, whenever you watch, come back and watch again. We don't mind. I am waffling a bit, folks, and I do at the beginning because, just so you know, Hannah's over there doing this, but just so you know, not everyone is actually on at 7:30. So if I get straight into our conversation at 7:30, they're playing catch up. So if I give them a minute or two for everyone to get on, or for most people to get on and log into their YouTube channel so they can chat or watch or plug in their earbuds so they can listen without disturbing the rest of the family. That's why I waffle a bit at the beginning of each video. Not because I like to waffle, although I do like to waffle. Anyway, so we seem to have lots of people here now. Veronica, Apple Tree Farm. Hello, Annette. How you going? Kerry, Julie, beautiful. Maureen's here. Excellent, Leonie. Great. So, welcome to another absolutely not politically correct Cheapskates Club show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for something that's politically correct, don't watch my shows. I don't have a politically correct bone in my body. The politically correct gene bypassed me. In fact, I think the actual term is an oxymoron. So, honestly, I say it as I see it. You don't have to like it, and that's fine. But by the same token, I'm happy to hear your opinions. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. But if I'm happy to listen to your opinions, then please extend me the same courtesy and listen to my opinions with the same respect I give to yours. That's all I'm going to ask, because we're all different. We all have different lifestyles. We all have different ideas on how to live our lives. We're all at different points in our lives. So, what I say is what I feel. Like it, don't like it, it's entirely up to you. But do me the same courtesy. If you want to have a conversation with me, feel free. I'm happy to converse, but with respect and courtesy. I won't be chastised. And if you do choose, or someone does choose to chastise me over something I have said, please expect me to do that back to you too. Anyway, so we're not politically correct, guys. I'm a married woman. I'm a mother. I'm me. Like me, don't like me, doesn't really matter. It's your problem, not mine. Your decision, not mine. So here we go. Tonight, I'm going to sort of continue on from the food shortage video we did a couple of weeks ago, because I've had a lot of response from that, a lot of emails from people asking about how they can possibly get prepared for anything, any sort of emergency, when they don't have any spare money. And especially right now, when we're living in such a weird world and our lives are a bit odd, we can't do what we would normally do. So I thought we'll continue on from that video. This is what I would do. I'm not suggesting that anyone do this. This is just what I would do, folks. It's just how I am dealing with building my pantries so that we don't run out of anything. Now, I've lost my train of thought. I was about to say something then. It'll come back to me. Normally, I shop once a year for the bulk of our groceries. Most of the dry goods, all the tins, everything, once a year. The week between Christmas and New Year, that's my big cleaning week of the year and my big grocery shopping week. This year, I haven't done that. I haven't let our pantry run down. I've been topping up as we use things from it to maintain the levels. So my levels are constant. And I've done that because back in March, April, and I was looking and I was reading and I was listening to the news and following things that were going on all over the world, not just here in Australia, but all over the world. And so I felt this need to just keep our pantry stocked. So that's what I've been doing. As we use something, I buy it to restock. Now, considering that, being me, the absolute cheapskate, I do most of my grocery shopping at Aldi. And boy, I wish Aldi had click and collect like Coles and Woolworths. Would that not just be the best grocery shopping thing ever, to have click and collect at Aldi? Oh, anyway, I do the bulk of my groceries at Aldi because for what I buy, Aldi is the cheapest. Or they have the brands that we like. So I do most of them there. But the last 4 months since we've had this stage 3, stage 4 lockdown going on here in Melbourne, I've been doing click and collect at Coles. I learned how to do click and collect. Yay, I've moved into the 21st century. It's really quite easy. Anna's rolling her eyes. But I like to, if I'm going to buy something, I want to be able to pick it up and see it and whatever. But anyway, I do click and collect. So I still have to do it within our grocery budget. Same rules apply now as they do normally, folks. Look for your half-price items. Make your shopping list. If you've got to shop at 2 or 3 different stores, then so be it. That's what you do. Now, if you're doing click and collects, that's really easy because they don't charge you any extra for that. There's no fee. If you get it delivered, there's a fee. I'm not paying $12 for Coles to deliver my groceries when they're like 3 kilometres down the road.
4.8.
Or 4.8 kilometres down the road. Cyril, there's one just over there.
I don't like
So, I'm not doing it. That's just ridiculous. Click and collect I can do. I'm very hoarse tonight. So I'm a bit excited about this because this is really important. So the same rules apply. But right now, there's a lot of people out of work. There's a lot of people on reduced incomes. There's a lot of people really struggling to pay the bills because they've been working from home. So the gas bill's higher, the electricity bill's higher, the water bill's higher. Everything's higher. So there's more bills and probably less money. So to do your shopping and stock your pantries like that, you have to think outside the square. Think outside the box, folks. Be a little creative. By all means, look for your half price and your sale items at your regular supermarkets, whether it be Aldi, Coles, Woolworths, IGA, Foodworks, Foodland, Spar, whatever it is. Do that. But also don't go past $2 shops, the reject shop, little independent Asian grocers. Your local fruit and veg might have some of the bigger butcher stores, the bulk meat stores often have grocery lines, especially along the frozen foods and the deli cabinet lines that can be quite a bit cheaper than your regular supermarket prices. So while it is a bit of a pain to initially get into the habit of shopping at different places, once you've done it a couple of times, it works really well and you get to know where everything is going to be the cheapest. So you can't trust that, your supermarket's always going to be the cheapest prices. They're not. You can't trust that Aldi's always going to be the cheapest price, especially with things like meat and fruit and veg. They fluctuate just like the bigger supermarkets do. So you need to shop around. If you are fortunate enough to still have an independent greengrocer somewhere close by, check their prices. They are also really good if you want to do bulk buys on your fruit and veg. So if you want to buy 20 kilos of onions, 50 kilos of potatoes, 5 bunches of celery so that you can chop it and dehydrate it or freeze it. You want to buy a bag of carrots. You want to buy a box of tomatoes, those sorts of things. Your little independent greengrocers are really, really good for that. They'll give you a great price, and the quality is usually, the freshness is usually really, really good too, because they'll go and get it from the market when they pick up their stock and bring it straight to you. All you have to do is pay for it and pick it up. Yeah, 301 Jules. I think most of us know that Aldi is the cheapest. Some things you will find at other supermarkets will be 1 or 2 cents cheaper, but overall, once you total your groceries, Aldi is usually the cheapest overall. Now, lots of people love Costco. I'm not a fan, and I think you know that. I'm not a fan of Costco. Costco in Australia is expensive. Their meat is outrageously expensive. Although, back in March, we did find Australian beef mince for $8 a kilo, $7.99 a kilo. That was a one-off. The next time we went back, they didn't have it. So that was a one-off. And I did ask, and they looked at me like I was a moron, and they didn't know what I was talking about. So it was a one-off. Usually their meat is a great quality. No problems with the quality of it, but it's really expensive. You can do better, get the same quality for less at your local butchers. Now, I was heartbroken a couple of weeks ago when I went to our local strip shopping centre where my post office is, and the butcher that has been there since Noah was a boy, I remember him being there when I was a child, when I was a teenager, early teens, has closed. It just went out of business, which is really heartbreaking because he had great meat, he was reasonably priced, and he was the sort of butcher that was a family affair, sort of butcher you could go in and ask how to cook something and they'd be able to tell you. So I was really heartbroken to see that had happened. It was really quite sad to think that we'd lost that. And if we don't use them, we're going to lose them. The old use it or lose it thing. So use those stores to your advantage. Use those services to your advantage. You've still got your grocery budget. You've still got to shop within that budget, but you want to stretch it so that you can build your pantry at the same time. So you need to be wise. And if that means that sometimes you have to give up the steak for chicken fillets, then that's what you do.
I'm always up for chicken fillets.
Yeah. Hannah's not a red meat person. That's what you have to do. Protein's protein pretty much. So you look for it, or you look for alternative sources. Now, we are moving quite easily. It's really simple to move into meatless meals, especially for us in Australia. We're going into summer. So we're going to start barbecues and salads. You can have a really good salad without any meat on it at all. If you want to add some protein, you can add some tuna or some salmon if you want to. But often, if you just do a green salad and you've got lettuce and tomato, cucumber, what else do we put now? Celery, red onion, a little bit of feta or tasty cheese, cube cheese, and then maybe some coleslaw or potato salad. Plop it all on a plate. You can throw a pineapple ring on top and make it really Australian. That's a really good meal without any meat. If you want more protein, put in a hard-boiled egg. Now, Eggs are a great source of protein, but they're also a really cheap source of protein. I know people go, oh, you can't have too many eggs. Well, the Heart Foundation's rejigged their calculations, and last I checked was they say have 1 egg a day is fine. So that's 7 eggs a week. Well, we probably go through more than that quite easily, especially in summer, because they're a great source of protein and they are really cheap and they're versatile. You can boil them, you can hard boil them, you can poach them, you can fry them, you can scramble them, you can turn them into omelets, you can put them into quiche, impossible pie, beat them into custards for added nutrition, beat them into a semolina or tapioca pudding for added nutrition. That works really well if you've got someone that's not quite well in the family. You want to boost their nutrition a little bit, beat an egg into some milk custard and give it to them. Eggs are cheap. And I know people go, oh, no, they're $6 a dozen. But that's a great source. It's cheaper. A dozen eggs is cheaper than sausages. It's cheaper than chicken fillets. It's cheaper than mince. It's the cheapest, they're really cheap. So don't go past those. As you're writing up your shopping list for restocking your pantry or building your pantry, don't go past eggs. And they keep for a long time in the fridge. They'll have a date on them. Put them in the fridge. They keep for weeks, good 2, 3, 4 weeks past that date. So if you don't think you're going to use them before the date, don't worry about it. It's a best before, not a use by. Okay, so Kerry, I was heartbroken when Pellegrinos changed hands too. Prices went up, quality went down. I've only been there once since, and I couldn't stand it. Reject shop was stocking Tesco products, yes. And not all Tesco, it won't be a full supermarket line of full Tesco supermarket line of products. It's just select products. From what I understand, Tesco's been trying to break into the Australian market for 12, 15 years, almost as long as Aldi's been here. So, and they just haven't been able to do it. I don't know why. I know a couple of times they've actually had land to build their stores, especially here in Melbourne, to build their stores and pulled out. I don't know why, but anyway. Yeah, salad's really good. So Hannah knows Tesco products.
They're all right.
She said they're all right. It's just a UK version of Aldi.
Don't they have Aldi in the UK?
Yes, they do have Aldi in the UK. Yep. All right. Go to work on an egg. I remember that too, Joy. Eggs are a great source of protein, people, and they're really, really, when you compare it against meat or chicken or fish, really inexpensive. Don't discount them. And they're so versatile. They really are. Now, Scotch eggs, yeah. Although you still got to put them in the mince. Although you can do vegetarian Scotch eggs and put them in nut meat and crumb them. Yum. So, all right. So I've been filling the gaps. So if we use 2 tins of tomato soup and a tin of pineapple, then I will do a shopping list start for the click and collect, and I'll add tomato soup and pineapple. If I check the prices and compare them to what my Aldi prices are, and it's not too much different. If there's a huge difference, then I won't do that. I save up the list and I glove up and mask up and just about gown up to race into Aldi and get what I need and come out again. So big if. Same with things like if we use the tuna, then we replace it, just so that the stockpile is maintained. It's not going down. The other thing you need to do is, as you're building your pantry on your budget, you can do it a couple of ways. When I first started, way back before Hannah was born, and I was doing monthly shopping, I just had a standard shopping list, and I bought the same thing every month. We went grocery shopping every fourth Thursday, and every fourth Thursday I bought exactly the same stuff, same quantities. It was a stock standard list, and I just went through them. Now, some months we wouldn't have used everything, so there was a carryover, and that was the start of my stockpile. I didn't know it at the time, but it just made sense to me to have that backup there. So that was the start of my stockpile. You can do it like that. You can create your shopping list that has pretty much everything on it that you use for the week or the fortnight or the month, however you want to shop, and just stick to it and buy that same list over and over and over. And your stockpile will gradually build like that. Your pantry will increase with things that you don't use. Sometimes you might not use all the Wheat Bix, so there will be some cereal left. It doesn't hurt to have backup, because other times you might decide to make a Wheat Bix slice and you need Wheat Bix. It will be there for you. That's one way to do it. The other way is to give up something temporarily so that you've got a little bit of extra cash to spend, to deliberately buy extra for your stockpile. So right now, if you're living in Melbourne, the idea would be perhaps to use your petrol money, because I'm pretty sure nobody's going anywhere. We can't go more than 5 kilometres from home. So I haven't put petrol in my car for nearly 6 weeks. I only go to do my grocery order once a week, and it's like 4.8 kilometres there and 4.8 kilometres back, and that's it for the entire week. So I've got between 3/4 and half a tank of petrol in my car, and it's been like that for weeks. So I've got a lot of petrol money building up in the account. You could use that money and go and do a specific pantry stockpile shop, not a panic shop, guys. Do not panic buy. Plan your shopping. Don't just run out and buy stuff willy-nilly. I was listening to, can't remember her name, a lady anyway, a woman. And she, just a flyaway comment was that, you know, when this crisis hit back in March and everyone was going crazy buying toilet paper, she was sitting there thinking, well, you know, toilet paper is important, but wouldn't they rather have food? They were going nuts over buying toilet paper and, you know, having 20 packets of toilet paper, but then they didn't have pasta, they didn't have baked beans, they didn't have soup, they didn't have cereal, they didn't have sugar, flour, or anything. And yet lots of people bought yeast. You couldn't get yeast for love nor money for weeks, almost 2 months. Yeast was out of stock. And they bought yeast. They may not know how to use it. They've never baked in their lives, let alone done yeast baking, but they bought the yeast. Don't shop without a plan. Same rules apply now as they do normally. You're shopping for an emergency, you're shopping for a crisis, you're still shopping, so the same rules apply. You buy what you need and what you will use. Don't panic buy. Don't race out and panic buy, and don't go into debt to do this. That's not going to save you any money. It's not going to save you any time. It's certainly not going to save you any stress if you go into debt to do this. Don't do it. Build your pantry within your budget. And if it's only one thing a week, then it's only one thing a week, but it's one thing more than you would have had. So you've started. It's like building your emergency fund. If you can only afford $5 a week, then $5 a week is it. It adds up over time. At the end of the year, you've got $260. Yes, roughly. little bit, maybe a little bit of interest if you're lucky. It's probably going to be eaten up in fees, but you are better off. So one thing at a time. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. As long as you are doing something and getting prepared, be a preparer. Don't be a prepper. I don't encourage anyone to stockpile huge quantities of beans and lentils and weird things. What did we say last week? Wheat berries and all that sort, or water or anything like that. Not in huge quantities. You don't need stuff that's going to last 40 years. You need enough to see you through for one pay period. Start with one pay period where if you don't get paid or something happens, you can go for one pay period without having to buy food or cleaning products or toiletries. So if you get paid weekly, build it up for a week. If you get paid fortnightly, look for a fortnight. Monthly. Once you've done that, then you can double it. And then you can double it again until you have your pantry at the level that is comfortable for you. And that level has to be one that you can physically maintain, actually use, and afford. You'll be able to pay for it. Don't go into debt for your groceries. It's pointless. It's just ridiculous. Now, I've been, seems my comments about, yes, there is a food shortage, upset a few people. That's fine. I think that's good because it's making people think. Because, yes, there are shortages. There are already shortages. Some here in Australia, others in other parts of the world. But it's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better for a while. I think there's still, light at the end of the tunnel. There's still time that this isn't going to last forever, guys. This depression, whatever he wants to call it, isn't going to last forever. This lockdown we're on in Melbourne isn't going to last forever. It just feels like it at the moment, but it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever, So thinking that it's not going to last forever helps. Really, it does help. Attitude is a really big thing, a really, really big thing. It's not nice to be worried constantly about how you're going to feed your children, how you're going to pay the electricity bill, are you going to be able to pay the rent or the mortgage this week? Are you going to have a job next week? That's not nice. They're horrible feelings to have. But we're all going through it. The whole of Australia is going through it. Even the states that aren't as locked down as Victoria is are going through it. It's happening. And it's not just happening here. It's happening in New Zealand, and it's happening in Canada, and it's happening in the UK and Japan and South Africa. If you really want to see somewhere awful at the moment where lifestyles are under threat, look at what's happening in South Africa at the moment and be so grateful we live in Australia, because they are struggling, really, really struggling. We've got it compared to what the rest of the world, we've got it really good. So changing our attitude and thinking we're going to do what we can to survive because it's just a little blip in our lifetimes really helps. And I know words are really easy and I can spit them out like a platitude. I don't mean them like that. Just think it's not forever. You can do anything for a short time. Right? You can even hold your breath for a minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes. If you practice, you can hold your breath. You can do anything for a short time. You can tread water for a short time. You can float. You can do just about anything for a short time. So this isn't going to last forever. We're just planning and preparing for however long you think you need to. I'm thinking 12 months and looking out to perhaps 18 months to 2 years. That's because I like to plan. I'm a planner and a preparer. I don't like surprises unless I know what the surprise is and when it's coming and what it's going to be. I like to plan. I like to make my lists. I like to work the lists. I like to be prepared. So, we did the same thing as soon as we got engaged. I started planning our wedding and preparing for our wedding. And then when we found out we were expecting our first child, started planning, preparing, making sure everything so that when that baby was born, everything was the way I wanted it to be. I do the same here every night. Clean up after dinner, get tomorrow's stuff started. I like to plan ahead. No surprises, no great shocks. If you don't mind surprises and great shocks, doesn't matter. Keep going the way you are. It's entirely up to you. But being a little prepared just makes sense. And it's not a difficult thing to do. Now, gosh, sorry. Sorry, guys. Prepared but not panicked. Yes, thank you, Joy. Be prepared. That's why I say I'm a preparer, not a prepper. I don't advocate buying guns and weapons and ammunition. I don't advocate turning your homes into fortresses. I don't. That's not me. We keep our homes safe and secure. We've got locks on the doors and the windows, and we've got gates and fences and stuff that normal homes have. That's about as far as I'm prepared to go for security's sake. Well, I've got a husband and 2 big sons, and and a girl who can use a jerry can. But that's about as far as I'm prepared to go for that sort of thing. I don't think for us that's not the way we want to live, and that would not make me feel secure. Knowing I have food in the house, the medicines we need, clothes, toiletries, cleaning products, that we can just continue our life, modified if it has to be, but we can continue on. That's my security. One thing I am, 2 things, but one big thing I am going to do, and I have started, is saving the milk bottles, washing them out really, really well, and filling them with water, and I will be putting them in the outside freezer. As we empty it, they will go into the outside freezer, because a couple of weeks ago we had the big storm here in Melbourne, and we had to boil our water for 4 days. 4 days. So, and I'm used to boiling water because we do it when we go camping. I have to tell you, putting water in the kettle and bringing it to the boil isn't enough to kill the bacteria that's in that water. You need to bring it to a rolling boil, and it needs to boil for at least 10 minutes to make sure it's safe to drink. So I don't think a lot of people realise that, and it certainly wasn't what was being told. They were saying, boil your water, boil your drinking water, but they weren't explaining how to do it. So I will be adding water to our food storage, to our stockpile, just in case. We usually have slabs. You can get slabs of bottled water quite cheaply from Aldi. And if we're going somewhere, usually if we're going to the desert, mainly desert areas, we take those with us for our drinking water. So I might get a couple of those and just keep them, because we will always use them once we are able to. Once we're able to travel again, you won't see us for dust. We'll be gone. But bye, darling. So I might get some of those. The other thing I'm doing is moving towards more shelf-stable food preserving. So that means more dehydrating, more bottling, more canning, more pressure canning. and less reliant on the freezers. Couple of reasons. Did you hear him in the background? Well, that was Wayne. We've got too many freezers. Yes, we have a lot of freezers, and they cost, they're full, so they don't cost that much to run. But the other thing is we have a lot of freezers and they're full, and if we have an extended blackout for whatever reason, I'd be heartbroken to lose all that food. There's a lot of frozen fruits in there, frozen veggies, meat, chicken, the lamb, there's bread and crumpets and muffins and all sorts of things, and I would be devastated to lose them. So I'm trying to move more to shelf-stable food storage for that reason, which means you've probably seen, if you've been watching me do things, this week I've dehydrated 4 kilos of
Vegetable.
frozen veggies, and you can dehydrate frozen veggies. The easiest way to do it is from frozen. So you can buy your frozen peas or your frozen beans or corn kernels or whatever, and take them straight from the freezer into the dehydrator, and they will freeze beautifully. Now, the advantage of dehydrating frozen veggies is you don't need to cook them before you dehydrate them. If you're bringing fresh veggies in, fresh peas, fresh beans, broccoli, carrots, or whatever from the garden or the greengrocer to dehydrate, you need to cook them before you dehydrate them, just so that when you rehydrate them, you can eat them, because otherwise they become rock hard little pellets that don't rehydrate terribly well, and they're not all that appetizing. But your frozen veggies, dehydrate them from frozen, they rehydrate perfectly. They're great. And a kilo of peas, corn, carrots, the veggie mix, peas, corn, carrots, fits into a 500-gram jar with a room to spare. You've got about an inch headroom. Now you can vacuum seal those jars. If you've got the attachment for a vacuum sealer, you can vacuum seal those jars, and they will keep for years and years and years on your shelf. So things like that. Jamie's moving to shelf stable. Yeah, pressure canning is great. I'm new to pressure canning. I've only been doing it a little while. I'm still a bit nervous. My mum did heaps of it when I was very little, and she had pressure cookers and all sorts of things going all the time. And of course, a long time ago, when I was very little, the pressure cookers were quite ancient, and they used to wobble and hiss and steam, scared the daylights out of me. So it took me a long time to get even a pressure cooker and get used to using it. But now I love them. Absolutely beautiful. Kerry's extending her canning. Yeah, if you can get lids, Kerry, if you know where to get lids, let me know. I have jars. I have the rings. I just don't have the lids. Plan your work and work your plan. Yes, Julie. No, Lisa, boiling, it comes to the boil. In your boiling water in your kettle will bring it to the boil. It will bring it to 100 degrees Celsius, and then it turns off. Now, my whiz bang fancy kettle that Wayne bought me actually has a digital readout in the top. Comes to the boil, comes to 100 at the boil, turns off. It cools really, really quickly. It doesn't maintain that boiling point. It has to boil consistently for at least 10 minutes to kill the bacteria. Just after we were married, there was an issue with Warragamba Dam in Sydney, and there were just about half of Sydney, the water was infected with something. It had a big long name, and people were told to boil their water, but they weren't told to actually boil it at a rolling boil for 10 minutes. So people were boiling their kettle and thinking it was good enough, boiling it, feeding it to kids. There were sick people everywhere. Keep it rolling boil 10 minutes, put it in a big pot on the stove. If you've got a pasta pot, fill it up with cold water, bring it to the boil, let it boil with the lid on for 10 minutes, turn it off, let it cool. And a pasta pot is about 10 litres of water. So that should get you through an easy half a day. Yes, Suzanne, I haven't been able to get wide mouth for ages and ages and ages. Julie, 2 kilos of frozen. Yep. I have the last of the silver beet is in our garden at the moment. So it's going to be cooler here tomorrow. So I will zip out and chop as much as I can and bring it in and wash it and shred it and put it in the dehydrator. Now, dried silver beet, I then grind into a powder. I just put it in the food processor and pulse it until it's a powder. And I just add it to soups and casseroles and stews and the pasta sauce and whatever, because it doesn't rehydrate nicely to use in cooking, I don't think anyway. It's better as a powder. Vacuum seal in pouches. Yes, Joy, you can. Really easily. The only problem with your pouches is that you open it and use it and you've got to reseal it. But you can do that, I guess. Good girl, Floss. Hannah's on the ball. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. I will try New Generation. I tried Ozfarmer. Everything I clicked on Ozfarmer was gone. And on New Generations here in Melbourne, last time I looked, they didn't have anything. Okay.
Are you after the wide lids for the ball jars?
Yes.
Spotlight has them for $4.55.
Yeah, but when you actually click to buy them, they're out of stock.
They're added to my cart.
Are they?
Yeah.
Cool.
So to check out.
Hannah's buying me some lids.
Excuse me? I know your PayPal details.
Oh, yes, but she's ordering them for me, so that's good. She says Spotlight has the wide mouth lids. All right. Now, oh, I've lost my notes. Sorry, guys. All right. So, what else have I got to tell you? Thinking, sorry, people, I've lost my train of thought because I was watching the comments. My Life's Delight. How do I store my dehydrated veggies? I have them in jars, just canning jars. Now, my canning jars are the ones, they're just with the resealable lids, the reusable lids, not the ball jars. And I just put them in those. I've been saving the oxygen absorbers that come in some of the packets of the wraps and things that we get, keeping those. And I had a look on YouTube and I found a way to dry them out so you can reuse them. So I'm going to try that, because then I'll pop some oxygen absorbers in them and they'll keep even longer. Which is good.
How many do you want?
How many is in a packet?
12. Spotlight do have them.
Do they?
They have them.
Spotlight's got the wide mouth lid.
And they're on sale.
And they're on sale. There you go. 12 to box,
$4.55.
$4.55. Wow, that's not too bad. That's actually quite good.
Thank you.
All right. Can I have 4 boxes, please?
Okay.
Thank you, darling. And that'll be one for each. Yep. Beautiful. Now, I'm not going to reuse the lids for pressure canning. I write on them. Once we've opened a lid, I write on it jam or whatever. And so I know it's been used for pressure canning before, so I can only use it for jam or vacuum sealing, whatever. I won't reuse them for pressure canning. My Life's Delight vacuum sealing jar attachment. Look on Amazon and look at Aussie canning supplies in Carrum Downs here in Melbourne. They have them too. What factors do I take into account when buying tomatoes? Okay. I try to find locally grown tomatoes. If I'm going to buy tomatoes, I try to find them locally grown, then on price, and I try to get them not too ripe, not green, but not too ripe. Now, when we had Pellegrinos just around the corner, they were really good because I could go in on a Tuesday and say, look, I want sauce tomatoes at the weekend, and just tell him how many boxes I wanted, and he would get the sauce tomatoes for me, and they were always great. So they were perfect for sauce. If you want salad tomatoes, they're a different deal. I tend to use the tomatoes we grow, and this year I've doubled the tomato plants. So hopefully we won't get the summer that the Northern Hemisphere's had. We won't get the high temperatures that they have had. And I won't be out there bucketing water and putting sheets and things over them to stop them from being burnt. Coffee, pearly absorbent cat litter, just staple into pouches. Is it food safe though, Jamie? Jamie's saying it's easy and cheap to make your own oxygen absorbers. Use coffee filters. I found some in the drawer the other day. And the odorless pearly absorbent cat litter, just staple into pouches. Is it food safe? I will have to try that. Merrill, Bushy Park call themselves Big Watermelon now. When it was Bushy Park, it was really good. Then it changed hands and expanded and got really, I don't know. Tried to be fancy, yeah. And quality went downhill. Prices were okay, but the quality wasn't, you weren't getting the quality for the prices that you were paying. And so I stopped shopping there. I tried a few times after it changed, and it just wasn't the same, which is why I just went, next door to Pellegrino's and loved Pellegrino's because family business. It was really nice. You could go in and say, I need this, this, and this, and they'd get them for me. Or then we had Jenkins down the bottom, the other side of Bushy Park, and they were great too. But now they've both gone and we're stuck with Bushy Park, and I just won't go there. I just can't bring myself to go there. I did go to Pellegrino's in Olinda once. It's just not the same. It was really expensive, didn't have the stuff I wanted, not worth it. For me, the trip up there wasn't worth it. So I'll find a fruit and veg. There's a little fruit and veg shop at Vermont South that's not too bad. So I might try them for a while and see how they go. But yeah, if you want to know about Big Watermelon, jump on their Facebook page and see what their specials are each week. Try them. You might, for what you buy and what you need, they might be okay. The other one is that would probably be close to you is Farmer Joe's in Baronia. Now, I haven't been there for a while either, so I can't say, but they used to be quite good with their quality and their prices. So, yeah. Now, Suzanne, what did she buy? Just purchased a food saver on the weekend. Now I just need the jar sealers, which seem impossible to get. They're always tricky. They're always hard to get. They have been for forever, just about forever. I had trouble getting mine 2 years ago, didn't I, when I wanted it. The jar attachment for the vacuum sealer took me ages.
Did you get one to find 2 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Kerry just ordered 6 boxes of lids.
I know you need them.
Well
Got
done,
more
Kerry.
caramel.
Kerry, do you reuse your lids after they've been for pressure canning? I would like to know. Great cheese at Farmer Joe's. Oh, cool. Okay.
Ooh, you know,
I've got ricotta on my list to make this week to use up to make spinach and ricotta rolls, because they'll be silver beet and ricotta rolls, but same but different. Using up the silver beet out of the garden. So I've got ricotta on my list to make. We did caramel the other day. I did another batch of caramel. I've got onions ready to go in the slow cooker to caramelize. And then I will water bath those, so they'll be shelf stable. It should be really good. I got mine off Amazon Australia, Kerry. I got my whole thing off Amazon Australia. The lid and everything, the whole kit and caboodle. Jamie says he thinks you can pressure cook dry goods a certain way. You can pressure can dry beans and lentils. You can pressure can flour, although why you would ever want to, I don't know. You can do it. It can be done. I haven't done it because I just vacuum seal them. But there are lots of YouTubers out there that do it. Now, okay, I'm a bit of a rebel, haven't you, in case you didn't know. I don't always do things the way it says in the book. Yes, I'm particular about hygiene. I make sure everything is clean and scrupulously clean, and that's really important. But I don't, how do I put this? I'm not a germaphobe. I'm not a bacteriophobe. I'm not a, look, if they say you can't do something, I'm probably inclined to go back to look at what my mum did or what my aunties have done, go back through mum's books and see what she did and follow her way. Because I figure if she was doing it for 50, 60 years, then, and nobody died, Hannah's going to sneeze, so you'll hear a big achoo in a minute, nobody died, then, it's all very well and good to stick to the book, the instructions in the book. And if you are an absolute beginner of anything, do it the first couple of times according to the instructions, and then try and tweak it to suit yourself, whatever it is, whether it's a pancake recipe or a knitting pattern. Don't be afraid to make it your own. Do that. But, if you stick to the general guidelines, pretty much works. And again, I'm not saying that because I pressure can, chicken, you should, or because I dehydrate mince, you should. I have to tell you, having dehydrated mince on the shelf, best time saver. It's already browned, it's dried, it's shelf stable. I don't need to cook it. All I need to do is add it to the pan, put it, whatever liquid is being, if it's pie, put the gravy in. If it's pasta sauce for pasta, put the tomatoes in, and it absorbs it. It rehydrates. It's brilliant stuff. But it's not recommended that you dehydrate meat, that you dehydrate mince. Now, there's some steps to it. It's a really easy thing to do, and it makes it shelf stable, and that's what I'm looking for, to free up room in my freezer. Now, I can mince, pressure can mince, but if you pressure can raw mince, I don't like the texture. And if you pressure can cooked mince, it becomes, to me, it's overcooked. So I'm happy to dehydrate it. Maybe I'm a bit of a rebel. I'm a bit of a stirrer or whatever, but I'm happy to dehydrate it. And all I do is I brown the mince. It has to be brown, has to be cooked all the way through. No pink bits. Then I rinse it really, really well under boiling water to get all the fat off it. Spread it out on a tray, pat it with paper towel, make sure there is no fat on that mince. Then I load it into the dehydrator, and I do it at 70 degrees. Depending on how much it is, it will take anywhere from 8 to 15 hours, depending on how much is on the tray. Make sure it's really dry. Cool it down, put it in the jar. That's how I dehydrate mince. It works really, really well. It rehydrates. To rehydrate it, like I said, you just put it in your pan and add the liquid. It will work. Or you can put it in a bowl, cover it with boiling water, put a plate on top and let it sit, much like you do with TVP. It will work. But it is not a recommended method of preserving your mince. It is just, I saw a few people had been doing it. I did a little bit of investigating to make sure I was happy with the results. We tried it a few times. I love it. So if I need cooked mince, I go to the pantry and pull out the jar of dehydrated mince. It's brilliant. Now, Food Saver has a hose. Yep. How do you caramelize onions in the slow cooker? Okay, Jules.
Slowly.
Yeah, it does take a while. Slice your onions. Now, I have a mandolin and I adjust it so it's on the thinnest slice, which is still quite thick for onions. Slice your onions. While you're slicing your onions, you've got your food processor set to high and you've put some butter in the bottom of it. I just dot some butters around. Now this
food processor or slow cooker?
Slow cooker. Sorry, slow cooker. Turn your slow cooker to high. Dot some butter around the bottom of it. Now I don't have measurements. I eyeball it. So I would probably use 125 grams of butter all up for the 6-litre slow cooker. Dot some around the bottom. Sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar over it, probably about 1/4 cup. And that will be starting to melt while you're slicing your onions. Once you've sliced all your onions, break all the rings apart, pop them all out so they're in individual rings. Put them in your food processor, more butter on the top, another 1/4 cup or so of brown sugar. You can use more if you want to. And then I am quite liberal with the balsamic vinegar. To me, it's the balsamic that really makes the caramelized onions yummy. So I drizzle, I'm quite generous with the balsamic and drizzle it over the top, put the lid on and let them cook. Now, the last pot I did, I filled the whole 6-litre crock pot. It was full to the top. So they cooked for 24 hours. Cook them down. Caramelizing is slow, even on the stove or the barbecue. If you're caramelizing onions, you need to do it slowly. So this is a slow process. Obviously, it's slower in your slow cooker, but it took about 24 hours until they were the way I wanted them to be. Put them straight into hot sterilized jars, put the lids and the rings on, straight into a hot water bath for 10 minutes. So they were hot onions in hot jars, so they went into hot water, brought it up to the boil, and then started the timing the 10 minutes from when it came to a boil to the rolling boil for the hot water bath, turned the heat off, left them for 10 minutes or so, took them out, let them sit on the breadboard, like I have a breadboard that I put all the hot jars on, let them sit on the breadboard until everyone had sealed, took the rings off, labelled them, put them on the shelf. Really, really easy. So they're shelf stable. So they're good for about 12 months. Now, we love caramelized onions on hot dogs, on cooked meats, on barbecues, things like that. Just on bread, yeah, yummy. put some on the side of a cheese plate with crackers, and you've got you've got crackers, caramelized onions, cabana, that little pickled onions, yum, yum, yum. Very good like that. They're really good. Now, you can serve them straight from the jar, but they'll be cold. So if we're having them on hot dogs or something like that, I just scoop it out and nuke them for a couple of seconds so that they're warm. Really easy and really good. Right. So, yes, Hannah's giving me the wind up. Okay. Yes, you can dehydrate canned chicken. Ugly chicken, yep. I've got a piece of corned beef that I took out of the freezer that I have to can. So it will be going into the canner. Alrighty. Are you doing a planner for next year?
If it comes out in time.
If we can get out of lockdown in time, yeah. We're thinking we're just about ready to go, but the issue is the actual physical part of the process with distances and not being able to go here, there, and everywhere, and the printers.
And not being essential.
Yeah, not essential. So, yes. So, in theory, yes, we are. Otherwise, who knows?
Maybe digital.
Yeah, we might just go digital for next year, which isn't such a bad thing because then you can print off the bits that you like and the bits that you don't like. Just save them and it will work. Okay, folks, so build your pantries. Do it slowly. Do it with a plan. Do it within your budget. Don't panic buy. Just don't panic buy. And you will get there. And yes, things are still in short supply everywhere. You know, I had a giggle at things that, you know, you still can't get. It's really frustrating. But it's only for a short time. It won't be for forever. And we can get through this. We can tell yourself you will get through it. Of course you can. You are strong. You are capable. You are intelligent. You know what to do. So just do it. There you go. Now I'm going to be in trouble with you know who, that brand, because I'll just do it. It's easy. It is easy. Hannah's screwing up her nose at me. She's thinking about the brand. Sorry. It's not hard. And, you know, what did I say the other? When the shell grit takes flight, we won't be part of that panic. We'll be sitting here, you'll be in your home, and we will be safe and secure in the knowledge that we have prepared and we are ready for what is thrown at us. So think about that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We're in for some really nice weather again. So out in the garden and washing on the line. Who'd have thought you'd get joy out of putting washing on the line? But it's just been beautiful. Anyway, have a great week. Really stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and make your plans and prepare and be a preparer, not a prepper. I'll see you next Tuesday, and hopefully, I might even have a date for the new kitchen by then. So that would be really good, wouldn't it? Pardon?
Stop jinxing it.
Stop jinxing it. Yeah. We'll have a date for the new kitchen by then, folks. Wouldn't that be good? We'll be able to cook. I won't be able to do shows. I'll be too busy cooking. All right. I shall see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps us with our YouTube rankings. If you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to know more about us, hear more of what I've got to say, listen to me waffle on, then please hit the subscribe button and bell, and you'll be notified when we have a new show coming up. Thank you again for joining us, and I'll say good night. Bye.